Hi everyone, it's Brenda Quintana here, and today I'm just popping on here to do a short video on how I did my August thank you cards. I did this cute twisted easel card, and this part folds in and tucks in behind right here. I'll show you a little bit better on my flat desk in a moment. But then there's a space in here to write your little message, and it's a really sweet card. I wish I knew who to credit with the origination of the Twisted Easel card. It seems like this card fold has been around for a very long time. But I wanted to share with you today how I made it, and my tips and tricks on how to make it easier. This makes such a beautiful fall card. This was a card I sent out to people who ordered from me on my BOGO sale in August. And I am a little bit behind, but I have to catch up with all the other people that ordered from me in August. So these are going to be going in the mail very soon. And those people who ordered from me will get a free project sheet from me for this tutorial. And if you would like this as a free tutorial, you can earn it. If you place a $20 order or more in my Snap 'n Up store, you can request this project sheet. It's a 2-page project sheet, and I have a photo. I have actually more than one photo. I have a photo, a supply list, and my instructions on how to make it, as well as a diagram. This project will also be free for my team members. And as you know, right now we're in October 2025, and we have an amazing starter kit join special. You can get the starter kit for only $35, and you get $125 worth of product to put in your starter kit, your choice. So definitely take advantage of that, because my team members, they do get my paid tutorials for free, and any project sheets that are earned just by customer orders, they can also get those for free. So before we get started, I just want to point out a couple of products I used on this card, and the first one is the Gathering Moments bundle, and it has this stamp set and then these dies to go with it. And I'll be using that big maple leaf for the front of my card today. And then I'm also using this gorgeous paper. Now, this is not the most gorgeous sheet of the paper, but I'll show you in a moment. You'll be able to see all the patterns of the paper, because the 3 cards that I used the this paper. It's called Gathering Together. It's got foiling on one side of the paper, so I only used the foiled sides to show up on this. So I'll show you how I did that. And the other thing that, and that paper is so gorgeous, I've already used a full pack, and I'm on to my second pack. We'll also be using the Forever Plaid embossing folder to emboss the leaves and give them a little bit of interest. So with that being said, let's just jump right in, and I'm going to show you how I made this card. Okay, well, first of all, before I jump in, let's take a look at these cards. I made 3 different versions of the card, and this one here so I only took the sides of the paper that had the foiling on it. So this one had this green striped foiling, and then I chose kind of the leaves that had some green in them as well, and I put it on an old olive cardstock base. This leaf is on a crushed curry. Then I did one in a basic beige card base, and I used this foiled paper. And then I paired it with the one that has kind of a tan background. And then this leaf was stamped on basic beige, or inked on basic beige. And then finally I did one that is gray granite, or granite gray. And then I did this paper that has foiling on it, and this one on this side right here. So those are the 3 different cards, and I'm going to show you how to make one of those versions today. So let's start off with the card base. That's always a good place to start. I'm making the basic beige card today, and I'm starting off with an 8.5 by 4.25 piece of cardstock. And I'm going to use my scoring board for this because it is just really easy to make this card on the scoring board. I don't know how many of these cards that I made, but there were a lot of them. a lot, even more than normal because I had my BOGO sale in August, and so I had a very busy ordering month. So when you're doing a lot of cards, you learn tips really quickly. So I'm going to put that 8.5-inch side up at the top, and then I'm going to score at the 4.25-inch mark. And then we need to score that diagonal. So I have taken the 6-inch score groove and I have marked it with a Sharpie to darken it. Now you don't necessarily need to do that if you're using a simply scored, because the way this works out, if you put that corner right at the 6-inch mark, it's also going to line this corner up at the 6-inch mark. And when you score down here, you are going to come right into the intersection of the other score line perfectly. So that makes it really easy. You just need to line up at 6 inches here, turn it until it kind of, as long as it's up here pinned, turn it until it hits the sidewall, and it will be pointing right here at the 6-inch mark. Really easy peasy like that. And you can see already how our card is coming together. So let's just fold this along the score lines. When I was making these cards, I didn't fold everything right away, but I think for the illustrative purposes of this card, it's easier the first time to do it this way. So we're going to fold like this along the middle score line, and then I'm going to fold along that diagonal like this. Okay, so now let's cut the paper that we're going to use on these different sides. Okay, so I'm going to do a slightly different card because I'm going to use what cardstock or paper I had left over. You're going to need 4 squares, 2 different patterns of that designer series paper. That is the gathering together paper, and I like to pair a leaf paper with a neutral pattern paper, and I just used paper that had the gold reflectivity in it, so it made it like really pretty. Then you're going to take your trimmer, and we're going to, these paper squares are all 4 inches, 4 by 4s. Okay, so they are very good use of the paper because you can get 18 diamonds or half diagonals out of 1 sheet of cardstock. So 1 sheet of designer series paper. So out of 2 sheets of designer series paper, you can get 18 cards. So I'm just going to line my diagonals or my points up along the cutting groove here, and I'm just going to cut this in half on the diagonal. So when you're cutting these, you're going to get 1 for the card you're working on and then an extra 1 for a second card. So you can set that extra piece aside. We're going to take our next pattern. We're going to do the same thing, just realigning it once that little cover comes down and making sure it's lined up. And then we're going to cut. And so we have a second designer series paper, and then we're going to do the same thing with a 4 by 4 piece of basic white. Line it up and give it a cut. So now we have 4 half pieces of 4 by 4 on the diagonal, and we'll just pull out this card right here. It's not going to be exactly the same as this card, but you're going to want your more neutral pattern on the front because we're going to have the leaf on the front that's going to give it extra interest. So let's flip this open. Let's do the patterns that we're going to use on the inside first. So I'm going to take my glue and just add it to here. And I'm just going to put my piece about 1/8 of an inch away from the bottom and 1/8 of an inch away from the side right here. And then we're going to glue this other piece right against it. When I first started doing these, I'm going to just mute my phone for a second. There we go. When I first started doing this, I started off doing a 4x4 square of white, and I adhered my paper to that corner of the 4x4, but then I thought, hey, I can waste less paper if I cut my white squares in half too and just kind of match them back up, and that seemed to work really well. So that's a way that I saved some paper. So we've got the inside all matched. So when this folds up, you're going to peek and see that beautiful leaf paper. And then we're going to glue this right here onto the front like this. All right, so we're getting there. Okay, now let's do, we've got all the paper. Now let's do the leaf. So for the leaf, we're going to need a die cutting machine. Let me grab my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And we're going to need our base plate, the number 1. Thin die adapter number 2, bottom plate. I'll put this one, it's a little flatter for the bottom, and then another one for the top. I'll grab my leaf and let me find my little scrap piece. This is basic beige. So for the basic beige one, I cut a basic beige leaf because my cardstock, believe it or not, this leaf is basic beige. We've just colored it. Okay, so let's run this through. Okay, so let's throw that scrap piece out and let's put these pieces away for a moment. We're going to bring back the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine after we're done coloring this leaf. Okay, so now we're going to take this leaf and a scrap piece of paper, and I'm going to use blending brushes. You could also use sponge daubers if you like. And my inspiration for this leaf coloring is going to come right out of this paper right here, or this paper right here, which is the same. But let's get this propped open right here. So we always like to start when we're doing blending, always good to start with the lightest color first. I'm going to use Darling Duckling. You can also use Crushed Curry or Daffodil Delight if you like. And I'm just going to add some yellow, and we're just going to kind of bring in some yellow to this leaf. And honestly, you'll probably just develop a pattern that you like, and don't worry about being perfect because it's supposed to look a little random. And then we're going to come in with our next color. You can use an orange. I'm using Calypso Coral. It's kind of like an orangey red. You could use Pumpkin Pie or Cajun Craze. If you use Cajun Craze, it's going to go a little darker. So you're just going to kind of bring in some color, and you know, if you want to go really dark, that is absolutely fine. You know, you just kind of have to try and find your balance with how dark you want to go. Okay. And then I thought this one, I think I did cherry cobbler in it, but later on I started switching up and I did a little early espresso. So you can kind of just decide, this is a small blending brush instead of a large one. So you can use large or small blending brushes. It doesn't really matter. Small blending brushes are a little bit better at getting into smaller areas. Now you have to be a little bit careful when you go really dark like this, because you don't want it to kind of overtake your project, because it is the darkest color. And you know, I said we'd be working in from light to dark, right? And I'm going to bring in, okay, I want a little bit darker there, but that's okay. Just blending it out. All right, and then I think I'm going to go just a little bit darker down here with the stem. Okay, and there is my leaf. And good, you could use the silicone mat too, but just an 8.5 by 11 folded over computer paper works really well for blending on there. And then if you get a chance, what I would do is I would let these dry really well, because if you emboss these right away, they get, you will find that the ink will get stuck in the grooves of your embossing folder. It will start to color your embossing folder. So I would let these dry like 10-15 minutes, just because when you squish them, it's really going to try and get the ink. The ink is going to come and stick onto the surface here. So rather than show you how I emboss this, this is very simple. If you want to emboss this and you're unsure of the sandwich, let me just show you the sandwich. You get out your embossing machine again, and this time you're just going to use your base plate number 1. You're going to take your leaf that you just colored, and oh, a good tip for this, if you're doing a whole bunch of these, you can fit 2 leaves in the embossing folder at a time. So I saved myself a lot of time by just putting in 2 in different spots. And then I'm not going to actually do this because I know this is going to color my embossing folder. Then you're just going to put your number 4 plate on top of here and then run it through. No clear plates for this, just the base plate, the embossing folder, and the leaf, and the number 4 plate, because this is a thick embossing folder, or a 3D embossing folder. So, and then you would just run that through. And I've got some extra leaves here because I was just doing this whole project. So let's just grab a leaf. Will look just a little bit different. This one has a lot more color on it, but you can see how the embossing just looks kind of pretty on there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to adhere this leaf centered on the front. The one thing you want to do though is you can only put adhesive on this half of the leaf. And I don't know, I think, I'm just looking right now, I think I actually did dimensionals. Yes, I did. I did dimensionals on my card. So let's just do this. We're going to put one here. We're going to, this one will be here. Let me see. We're going to put one right where the stem is, and then maybe one right kind of under here to kind of adhere all of those into place. So let's remove these 4 dimensionals, and then when we're putting this down, just remember to center it from top to bottom and side to side. And there we go. Okay, so now you've got your leaf, and when this folds, it's going to stick up. If you glue it all down, it will not open properly. It will not work. Okay, last but not least, we need to add our little greeting. And so I thought, to make life easier, and I think I have my piece somewhere underneath my pile here. I just need to find it. Of course. Here we go. When you're looking for something, things go missing. So I just cut myself a little 1/2-inch strip of cardstock, and I think I'm just gonna grab a random ruler here. I just did about 4 inches by 1/2 inch. You can do, if you have a really long piece, you can do that too, and then you can use the opposite end. And I wanted to create myself a little label with a little interest on it. So you can use the to the point label punch, and we just want to take our piece and hover this piece right down the center, like that, coming in from the side, and then punch it. And then that gives us these 2 little ends right there that kind of look pretty. So then we can take our greeting, and I'm just going to use early espresso because it's nice and dark. And then we're just going to ink this up, and I'm just going to kind of center this onto my piece. And it says, "Thankful for you." And then we're going to take this piece and we're going to adhere it. And I'm just going to double check where I adhered mine. So it's about 1 inch from the edge over here, or this corner, about 1 inch from the corner, and about 1/8 of an inch below the paper. And you want to pop this up on dimensionals, and I'm going to use mini dimensionals. I'm going to use 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. And the reason you're going to want this actually angles a little bit in, and it doesn't quite follow. It kind of, the top piece will angle in a little bit, but if you follow the "Thankful for you," if it follows along this paper line, it's going to look a lot better than if you angled it to meet this particular thing. And I feel like it looks better placed 1/8 inch down from here. So then it just kind of catches there. And then you have your twisted easel card. So let's bring out the different variations again. These are the 3 that I mainly made when I was making all the cards. So this one was the old olive card. It's the only card that I used a different color of cardstock for the back. I used a yellow cardstock, crushed curry, because that just made it easier, because this was the only one that had more color. This paper had more color to it. It had green, yellow, orange, and brown, where these ones only had, this one had yellow, orange, and brown, and this one barely had any yellow, but I added some yellow in here anyway. This one again was gray, granite, basic beige, and old olive. Those were the 3 color variations. And for the leaves, so for these leaves here, for the old olive card, I used, since this was a yellow base, I didn't have to add any yellow ink to this. I just used Calypso Coral, Poppy Parade, and Old Olive. On this card here, the gray granite card, I use Darling Dunkling, Calypso Coral, and Early Espresso. And you know what? This card, this sample doesn't have any Early Espresso in it. You can just see a lot of the gray granite kind of peeking out. So you can do whatever you want in terms of the colors. Choose colors that you have, or if you want to add a color, you absolutely can. And then this basic beige leaf, this one I think I did Darling Duckling, Calypso Coral, and Poppy Parade. And then this leaf, as I went on, I also added Early Espresso to it. So you can just play around with the fall colors and see what leaf you want to do the most. And then by embossing it with the Forever Plaid embossing folder, it just makes it look really pretty. So I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. And remember, if you were a customer of mine in August, I will be sending you this tutorial, or you can request it for free, the project sheet. The video will live on and is free to everyone. And also, if you are a team member, the project sheet is free to you. But best of all, think about getting the starter kit this month. It is the most amazing deal ever. $35 for $125 worth of product, plus free shipping on the starter kit. So if you're interested at all in that, go to my website, cubiesquest.com/join, and there's a bit of a frequently asked questions section there that you can take a look at. And then if you have questions, please reach out to me. I know sometimes people will ask me, am I bothering you? And please, if you have a question about the starter kit, please do not feel that you're bothering me. I want to answer your questions about it because it is something a little different, and so I want to make sure that beforehand you know all the answers to your questions. So thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you at one of my live videos very soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.